Hi everyone, Grant K here for the Flame Premium Learning channel. In the previous video, we started going through the ins and outs of using the master keyer. So far, it's relatively simple to key the image and refine the matte using the on-screen slider and optional patches. In this video, we're going to go through color suppression, edge blending and degraining within the master keyer. If you would like to follow along, please go to the first video to download the media. So picking up from the previous video, we have used the master keyer in batch and we have keyed the dancer over a background. Now one of the big points to mention was that as soon as we keyed the image, auto color suppression kicked in to suppress the green. We can toggle the button on and off. But to make this really clear, we can switch the result output to display the suppressed front input. As a tip, this suppressed image can be outputted from the master keyer. So it's been known for artists to just use the master keyer to suppress an image and key it elsewhere. This is just a different way to think about using the master keyer. Back to our example, switch the sampling to spill or press the S hotkey. Note that as we start playing with the range, we can increase or decrease the amount of spill as well as hue shift. And when we adjust the on-screen sliders, the interface sliders will also update with the changes. Now switching back to the result output, we can also adjust the spill and hue of the image in the context of the key. I'd like to point out that the spill color is derived from the initial key color. However, we can click on the color pot and change the spill color if required. This will affect the spill suppression adjustments, but not the main keying color. Don't be afraid to try this, as you can undo the color change. The next aspect we're going to examine is the blending between the foreground and background clips. If the background is brighter or darker than the keyed subject, we have two options to tweak the edges of the key. Change the sampling menu to blend or press the B hotkey. When we click on the image and start dragging the luma slider, the changes are affecting only the edges of the key. So in this case, we darken the edges to blend with the background. For additional control, we can also adjust the edge size that increases or decreases the range of edge pixels that are affected by the luminance adjustment. And finally, we can adjust the edge balance trackball that allows us to shift the chroma of the edge pixels to align to the background. The edge luminance and chrominance changes are both affected by the edge size. And it's worth noting that these changes are applied after the spill suppression adjustments. The final aspect with the master keyer that can definitely help in certain situations is the degraining tool. Using this tool on a very grainy image will help remove the grain to achieve a better looking key. Select the current view and zoom in closer to some of the finer detail of the dancer. Switch to the front input with F1. Now change the sampling mode to degrain or press the D hotkey. Hold Ctrl and create a box selection around a flat shaded area with some grain. Toggle F4 to switch to the outmatte view. We can also see that the degrain controls are now active. If we toggle degrain on and off, we might see a difference before and after. Admittedly, this shot is not too bad. However, to make this really obvious, we'll increase the grain size and smooth out the edges. This will interactively change on screen to reflect the changes. The More button simply intensifies the degraining effort. A point to bear in mind is that the grain size and edge smoothing is animatable, but we cannot animate turning degrain on and off on different frames. Now here's a great tip. If we felt the grain sample was not correct, we could hold Ctrl-Alt and drag another grain sample in a different area. The marquee is green instead of red to point out that this is resampling and not adding to the existing grain sample. Let's zoom out and look at the final result. So the master keyer's recommended workflow is to start off with a primary color. We can add a secondary color selection and mix between the two to create an average color sample. Next, we would refine the matte with the various on-screen sliders. We can also use patches as an optional tool to further refine the matte. But remember not to overdo them, because they can easily give us crunchy edges. Once we're satisfied with the matte, we can work on tweaking the color suppression. And this can be followed on with the blending of the edges in terms of luminance and chrominance. And finally, for all those grainy shots, you can do a separate degrain in batch, or just use the degraining tools in the master keyer. This concludes the in-depth look into the inner workings and workflow of the master keyer. I hope you have found this useful. Comments, feedback and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the Flame Premium Learning channel for future videos.